Hi, Todd. Couple of questions. First, with Andreas Athanasiou joining the team and where you put him as far as line mates the last couple of days, is this something that you kind of penciled in at the start of camp, even though you knew he wasn't going to be here at the start?
I think that's a fair assumption. Yeah, when we sat down, we knew he was signed and coming to join our team. We thought he would fit well with Lizzo and Karts, and then Wags would fit well with some of his older line mates and maybe playing the off wing. So there was some thought put into that. Yes.
And in a couple of days, I guess you get some of the prospects. Is there a thought in your mind as to where you put Turcotte? I know you're pretty set down the middle, but are you looking at him more of a winger or a center?
Well, I think there's a number of answers to that question. First of all, they aren't going to be joining us quite as quick as we thought they would. They're going to have to go through their long-term health protocol. It's going to take, I think, 7 or 8 days for us to get them in. We thought we could hurry the process, but we've got to follow what's correct and what's right, and that's what's going to happen. So it'll be a little while before they join our team. Each of those individuals are unique and they're different in their own way. So Byfield and Turcotte, I think about Kapari in our organization, young centermen that are coming in. They're not all going to be able to play in the middle at the same time, and some of them are going to have to transition over to wingers. But I think taking a centerman and putting them on the wing is a lot easier than taking wingers and putting them in the middle. So we'll continue to train them playing through the middle as much as we can, but they will get time on the left and the right side as we go forward. Not all of them, but some of them.
And finally, Todd, the power play. Last year, you were quite often using 4 forwards and a defenseman, and it looks like that's the breakdown in your power play unit so far at camp. Why do you like that look with 4 forwards as opposed to 3 and then the 2D back there?
Well, we take a look at our personnel and what we have, and we feel like on the back end right now we have a quarterback in Drew and a quarterback in Walks, with maybe some more coming. Royce could fill in a little bit there, and we're not sure where Clegg and Dursey are yet at the NHL level for running a power play. So we feel that we have more depth up front, and it's gone that way for a number of years where breakouts, entries, having the puck in the forwards' hands with the D quarterbacking, it is something that we believe in. So one, it's roster and having the tools that are presented to us, and 2, it's the structure of it.
Thanks, Todd.
Okay, next up is Zach Dooley.
Hey, Todd, when you look at Gabe and the injuries he's had to deal with over the last 2 to 3 years, including time in the offseason, how big was it for his development to be able to have a full offseason and at that an extended offseason to really focus on building for this year?
Well, we believe it was really important. His past summers or off seasons, if you will, have been spent in rehab mode rather than in training mode. And Gabe looks like a different man right now physically. Looks stronger. I think his engine's much better. We're going to find out in the games. But I think it was really important. And the fact that he did all the work should make him feel comfortable and confident in what he can or can't do on the ice. And having that confidence is a real big thing. So I think he'd answer the question the same way as I did.
If you look at one of his line mates in Marty Ferk, he kind of scored his way into the lineup last year with his work in the AHL. What have you seen from him thus far in camp with a bit more maybe of a defined role?
Well, Marty scored his way all the way into the NHL, whether it was in Detroit or whether it was with Carolina for a short period, certainly here. So he scored his way into the NHL, but you can't be a one-trick pony. You can't just rely on your shot. You have to do other things. And at times, I think that's why he has worked his way back to the American League and been up and down. we want and we know that we'll get the shot from him and that he can unload it. And we expect him to score some goals, but we also want him to play a full 200-foot game so we can trust him in every situation and get him more minutes. So we're working on that part of the game. And thus far in camp, I think he's done a real good job.
Thanks, Todd.
Next up is Lisa Dillman.
Todd, I know we ask you about individuals all the time, but in terms of line combinations, is there any group that has perhaps exceeded your expectations so far?
Those types of questions, even individual questions and these combination questions are tough to answer. We're really just seeing our group against our group. And everybody has a good day and a bad day. I'll be better equipped to answer that after probably the first two Minnesota games. The group as a whole has been really attentive. I thought today we let our guard down a little bit. We got a little bit sloppy. We needed to be reminded that every minute of practice time is really important to us. And we can't take anything for granted. We're not in that situation at all. So today was a reminder day that our standards aren't going to slip.
And following up on something you said earlier, is that 7 or 8 days for the prospects going back to yesterday? And was it like a NHL requirement or a health requirement or both that extended it?
No, it would be a customary health directive where we need so many days of testing. We had thought there was a chance to hurry it up because they came from a bubble and
Right.
and you know, they flew private, which was nice for them. But we thought we could you know, speed the process up, but we can't, and we understand that. We accept it, and we're going to do whatever we can to protect those individuals and the rest of the group that's here. So we'll be patient. We'll wait for them, and they'll eventually join our group.
Thanks.
Next up is Daryl Evans.
Hi, Todd. With the news of not being able to get a look at those juniors in camp till it looks like at least the season gets underway to start, when are you targeting a date when you're going to get down to a number of guys that you're going to kind of break your camps a little bit and get down to the workable number?
We are looking at, so our plan for I'll give you our plan for the next 3 days. We'll practice again tomorrow. We plan on going to Staples Center to have an inter-squad, a black-white game on, I guess it's Saturday. Sunday's an off day for us. By the time we get to Monday, we'll have a better idea of the direction of the organization, how many guys we want to keep initially. By that time, we will have, or we'll be in discussions to clarify the taxi squad and perhaps how we're going to use it. That doesn't mean we'll have final decisions made, but we'll have a better and clearer picture in and around that time.
Thank you.
Next up is Dennis Bernstein.
Follow up on Gabe. His production was encouraging last season, right? 10 games, 7 points, but you spotted him pretty well. And he didn't play more than 13 minutes a night on average. You mentioned he looks like a man now, he's physically bigger. To play that second line center, if he does that, he's going to have to play 16, 17 a night. Do you think he's prepared to take that step?
Well, it depends if you consider his line, you know, the second line or the third line or the fourth. I don't know. He'll dictate, on that line will dictate where they slot in, first, second, third, whatever it might be. And he'll dictate the amount of minutes. Last year, we protected him a little bit. One, because it was brand new to him.
Sure.
Two, because his engine wasn't, you know, it ran high, but it ran high and petered out quickly.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't anything that we didn't expect, and I know that he's worked on that. You know, so I'd like to turn him loose and just play him as much as we possibly can, but he's got to show us that he's prepared to sustain a high level of play and and be able to handle those minutes against anybody. And it won't just be him; it'll be his line mates as we go forward.
And roster questions aside, Todd, you're a week out from opening night. When do you turn your attention to Minnesota? Start game planning that?
Not for a little while yet. We're still reestablishing what the Kings need to do, and our pre-scout from the past or when they played in the bubble will come in maybe the last day or the 2 days prior to us playing. But we haven't yet even begin to discuss what their tendencies are or how they're going to do things. Too many reminders for our group right now.
Thanks, Todd.
Okay, next up is John Hoven.
Hi, Todd. I know earlier you were saying that for some of the players, it's still a sorting out process to figure out where they fit in. But you did allude to where you thought Wagner might slide in and where AA would slot in. I'm just curious for guys that are on the bubble there, maybe a Carl Grunstrom or a Matt Luff coming into camp, and maybe as of right now, when they sneak into the lineup, where would you see them best suited, at least to start the year?
Well, let's talk about their camp to begin with. So both of them were they were up and down players last year. They were players initially that we thought would have an impact on our season, maybe coming out of training camp. And both of them needed a little bit more time down there. I can tell you that both had better training camps this year than they did last year, especially Matt Luff. He was noticeable. He was a factor, and he's earned the right to be on our squad right now. And as we move forward, we'll have an opening night roster. He may be on it, he may not be, but we do expect them to get into games, both of them. And when they are in, it's nose to the grindstone and keep earning ice time. Take somebody's job, move up in the lineup, get more minutes. There's that internal competition that's going to be going on as we move forward. And the deeper it gets, the more competitive it gets. That means our organization's going in the right direction.
For a guy like Grunstrom, do you see him more as a right winger, left winger, third line, fourth line?
We see him left winger, third, fourth line player, heavy presence in and around the net, straight lines, physical, win a lot of loose puck scrums, get his nose dirty in and around that so that he scores some ugly goals. He does have a good shot. He's got to be responsible all over the rink. I could use that descriptor for a number of players, but that would describe Grunny, to a T. His nickname is Tonka for a reason. His teammates call him that because he, when he goes and he's heavy and hard to play against, I think the players call him Tonka because he's like one of those old Tonka truck toys where he's big and heavy and hard.
And then the last one would just be on the defensive side. We've asked you a lot about players other than Curtis McDermott. Can you maybe just talk a little bit about how you might best use him this year, especially as Bjorn Foote and Clegg eventually rotate in and out of the lineup? Where does McDermott fit into your pairings?
Dermy fits right into the mix. I think he was one of our most improved, if not the most improved player last year. He brings an element that not a lot of the remaining players on our team do. Our players feel comfortable when he's in the game. They want him to be part of the team on a nightly basis. So I think when the puck drops each and every night, there's a good chance you're going to see him in the lineup. Unless his game diminishes or he loses something that's important to him. But I think that Dermy is a real effective player on our team, and there's a lot of nights that we need him in our lineup.
Thanks, Todd.
All right, we're going to finish up here with Jack Harris.
Todd, that Moore, Amadio, Wagner line, those are three guys who, last year you were kind of mentioning being part of that group of, NHLers who are still trying to establish themselves long-term. Have they shown more consistency in this camp and kind of earned your trust to at least maybe start the season in that fourth line role together?
So far they have, yes. They earned some of that last year. Some of them had, each of them are in different spots. Moorsey comes in and from another team. Ahmad's had been in the organization for a little while. Wags is slowly solidifying his spot. So they're all in different spots. They all had different moments throughout the season. Together, the three of them, I think, can be effective. And, they're working hard. They're trying to prepare themselves to play on the 14th, and we'll continue to work with them.